Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Thank you everybody for joining us today for the claims training for your Impact Awards. I'm glad you could be here with us today. We've got Roxanne Collins and Lisa Ditchley, who are with our financial operations department, and they are the ones who are going to explain this process to you. And I also wanted to let you know everybody's accounts have been set up. I've uploaded your contracts and all of your banking information, so you are good to go after this point. So we are in great shape. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Roxanne and or Lisa. Thank you.
Good morning. How's everyone doing? Good. Lisa, do you want to start with the online or?
You know what? We can.
Okay.
Give me just a second though, because I did not think I was going first.
If you want, I can go ahead and start.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So basically, all we're doing today is just going over claims requirements. When you are submitting your claims, there are a few things that are required, not near as detailed as with some of the other awards that you are probably used to submitting claims for, but there are a few things that sometimes get missed. Um, and we just want to go over that today. If you ever have any questions, feel free to call me or email me, and I have my information on this document. I'm going to pull it up for you. Okay. Is everyone able to see the
It's
I
small.
Can
it
you make
is
it larger?
small. Okay. Is this a little better?
Bingo.
There we go. Perfect. Okay. So this here is the CSBG claims requirement sheet. This is actually a sheet that is going to be uploaded to our website so you can access it anytime you want. But I do believe Tina is going to send this out to everyone so that you have access to it. It's just kind of like a very quick, short, but sweet checklist for every time you submit a claim. You never know. Sometimes there could be a charge in there you just don't realize require additional information. Whenever you submit a CSBG claim, you should always have the the claim receipt, which is automatically generated. The CSBG claims cover sheet. This must be completed in its entirety. This is something that it just helps us to understand your claim and give us a little bit more information on the charges that you're actually claiming. Within that claims cover sheet, which I do have here, I can pull up for you. Um, are you able to see the claims cover sheet? Yes. Okay. Yep, I can do that. Maybe. This claims cover sheet, you just fill out this first part here. It's the basic information. Award number, the claim number that you just created, the date range of the expenses. This right here is very important for Tina's side. If they go into a claim, they need to be able to see what it is that what date range you're claiming for. You want to put the total claim amount, your administrative expenses, direct program expenses, and then your total. The IHCDA program support, this section here, these are only to be charges that are supplemented by this particular CSBG claim that are in-house IHCDA awards. So if you are supplementing or augmenting from another IHCDA award, you will put that here. If you are not, if it is from outside, you do not list it here. Does that make sense? Lisa, is there another way I can say that?
Not really. That's about the most basic explanation that there is for that. But this would be charges where if you had to supplement or augment your anything with LIHEAP or like EAP. I'm not sure how many of the people that are actually online deal with other programs. How many of you deal with other IHCDA programs? Can you just like raise your hand if you Okay, so I didn't think so. So if you don't, then this doesn't really apply to you.
You just wouldn't fill that spot out.
Yes, you just wouldn't fill that spot out.
But for sometimes training is a big one. If you
Yes.
have a training that uh, was regarding weatherization, but it didn't cover it in full, you can put here under IHCDA program support, weatherization, the total amount for that training, a brief description, and we know that that was an in-house charge.
And Rachel, you raised your hand, so you said this might be something that would pertain to you.
Yeah, we use the NAP credits, which are sort of within you guys as well. So that would be the other program.
Okay. So to continue, does anyone have any questions about that there?
I only want to say one thing to Rachel. The
Okay.
NAP credits would be ineligible on this because it's not really something that you're claiming out or paying out. Those are tax credit based. So this wouldn't really, if that's the only
So
program,
no
then that would,
worries there.
nope, no worries, no
Okay.
worries.
Perfect.
All right, so the next section is items requiring documentation. If you have your total credit card expenses, when we refer to total credit card expenses, sometimes within your ledgers, a charge will be titled as Visa or MasterCard or the name of the bank that you hold that card with. However, if you add the actual vendor name where you used that card, then you don't need to put this here. This total credit card. This is strictly for charges that are within your ledger that are in the name of a bank or a credit card company. We require additional information for that, and I will go into that here in just a few moments. Any charges over $1,000 or more, that would need to be entered here. And travel expenses, if they are strictly just titled as travel, reimbursement, mileage, you'll want to put that there. This section here is just telling me what kind of documentation I'm looking for. That's really what that is. And it kind of gives you a little breakdown, a slight breakdown of your requirements for your charges here at the bottom. But this needs to actually be uploaded to each claim, and it should be the very first thing that I see. So when you upload your claims, this will need to be the very first thing that I see. So let's go back here to the claims requirement sheet. So, like I said, your claims cover sheets required your general ledger, which is a breakdown of only the current expenses items currently being claimed for reimbursement. Um, if you send me a ledger, and I mean, this happens quite often, if you send me a ledger with several charges that you're not actually claiming within this claim, then what happens is we have to ask for additional information on that, and that can delay your reimbursement. Uh, so unless either the charge is marked out or it's made known that you're not claiming that, it just happened to print up in that ledger, then we will require supporting documentation. Then, of course, your supporting documentation would be next. Copies of vendor invoices, receipts, payroll, detailed information. Payroll is very important, guys. If you are claiming salary, wages, payroll of any kind, we need that supporting documentation for all your payroll. So to go a little bit deeper into what I was talking about with the claims, the CSBG cover sheet. Payroll documents are required for each claim submitted when claiming wages of any kind. The original vendor invoice is required for charges of $1,000 or more. That needs to be the original vendor invoice. The original vendor invoice is required for employer charges of $1,000 or more. So if you are paying insurance of $11,000 for your staff, there needs to be some sort of an invoice backing up that charge there. Because it does not show within the payroll documentation if it's employer paid. The original vendor invoice is required for any charge that does not provide the original vendor name within the ledger, regardless of the dollar amount, within the general ledger, and is titled as any of the following. If it says the name of a credit card company or a bank, reimbursement charges that are titled in a person's name, reimbursement, petty cash, mileage, legal, fees, advertisement, miscellaneous, or if you have multiple charges of any kind that do not specify to be different charges, whether different months, different locations, we need invoices for those. It has to be the original vendor invoice. I do realize here under mileage, I've been asked oftentimes, well, how do we prove that? It would be your mileage reports that you keep in office. You would just supply our mileage report, and we like to be able to see those totals for the reimbursement to match that up. If you are claiming pooled charges, or any charges coming from a non-IHCDA program, you need to note that charge of this information to prevent any delay of reimbursement. If we know that it's a pooled charge, if we know it's a non-IHCDA program that's being augmented, then we won't require additional information. If the charge is less than $1,000 and the original vendor name is listed within your ledger, none of this is required. So, for example, if you have a charge in your ledger that says the name of your bank for $4.80, there needs to be an original vendor invoice. However, if somewhere in the notes it states that it was spent at Speedway gas station, then it's not necessary. Does that make sense? Okay.
It does. Roxanne, I have one quick question.
Sure.
Can you give more definition to miscellaneous? Is it just anything that's not specifically itemized out here?
We have to be able to verify that charge is an eligible charge. And when you title it miscellaneous, it's immediately not eligible because it doesn't verify the purpose behind the charge. Now I will be honest, that is just a federal guideline. That's not an IHCDA guideline. Some of these are set so that we can follow the federal guidelines a little bit better. And sometimes when you have a credit card charge there in the name of a bank or in the name of a credit card, you have the same situation. We don't really know what that charge is, so we require this information. But if we see they're spending it at Home Depot and that kind of makes more sense. Only an invoice is required at that point if it's $1,000 or more. Does anyone have any questions? I wasn't able to read the messages. Did anyone have questions in the messages?
I'm watching it. I got it.
Okay.
Roxanne, this is
Yes.
Libby Blackmore. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I just have a quick question. So I'm with the YWCA of Northeast Indiana, and we have two main programs at our branch. We have a domestic violence shelter, and then we have an addictions recovery center. So this particular grant is helping to fund our addictions recovery center. However, we have an ESG grant that through IHCDA that funds our part of our domestic violence shelter. So would I include that ESG information on the cover sheet for program support, or no, because it's not?
No, because it is not an IHCDA program.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks.
But somewhere in your ledger, those charges need to specify that's a non-IHCDA program.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does.
Sometimes I can tell just by the title of them.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard to say. If it just says ESG, it could be one of ours.
Right. Okay.
So that's kind of where that sheet comes in to help us out a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, now we do have some additional required supporting documentation. If you are claiming an individual item that is $5,000 or more, we do need that vendor invoice, and we do need some pre-approval letter. That comes from Tina. you would contact her, let her know that you have this charge that's $5,000 or more, and it was you had some work done on a vehicle, a company vehicle. You want to claim that under CSBG. You have to get that pre-approval letter from Tina. She will respond by email, and you upload that email to the claim as well. That is the vendor invoice and the pre-approval is all that's required for that. Now for her, you will have to send her, I believe, Tina, don't you require bids on those?
I'll have to check with Emily. I'm not sure.
Okay, okay. But for me, it's just the vendor invoice and the pre-approval letter from Tina that says that was an okay to charge that. So it could be an electronic, a purchase, but it's just any one item, equipment, vehicle. Sometimes we see a lot of equipment, like for weatherization, things like that.
Computers.
Yep. Please be mindful of the following to prevent confusion and any delay of reimbursement. This can sometimes cause problems. I'll have to put the claim on hold, contact you by email, and wait to hear back. Only provide charges in your ledger that are currently being claimed. Only supply the required supporting documentation. Large numbers of credits. Sometimes that can be confusing. We're trying to figure out what you're doing here. Are you moving money? Or is that something on your side of it? Terms within your ledgers that say adjust, transfer, move, or shift. That can also be a little confusing. So if you need to make notes on your ledger, that's perfectly fine. If I have a question, I can always call. Keep your claims under $100,000. If you have a claim that is going to be more than $100,000, I highly recommend that you break it up into 2 claims. The reason for this, not only do I need to review it, and it can be very time consuming, but then I have to get additional eyes on it from Tina so that she can kind of go over it and make sure none of all of these charges are eligible. That can take her some time. She's a busy woman. So if we want to get this claim reimbursed quickly, the best thing to do is to break it up into 2, keep those under $100,000. And with CSBG, you can do that.
And I'll just note that none of these awards are over $100,000, so we shouldn't be seeing anything over $100,000 for these claims because that's the maximum amount of their award.
On all of CSBG?
No, just on these impact awards.
These are just impact awards, Roxanne.
Okay. Just a few helpful hints. The way that you can upload your documents to your claim, this can be very helpful and easy for you if you ever need to go back into it. You can upload your payroll documentation separately from the rest of the claim. That way we can go into it and review it separately. Budget summary and general ledger in one upload, vendor invoices in another, your payroll in third. You can break that up. You can actually upload them by your line items, however you choose to do that. If your claim is over, well, we just went over that. Please review any guidance released by IHCDA. This here will help you. Sometimes they do make changes, and that can be confusing. It can be complicated, but when they do make changes, I believe you send out a mass change. Is that correct, Tina? Or
I'm sorry.
any updates or changes, you would communicate that with them by email, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. If you ever have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I'm here. My information is listed at the bottom, and we will be sure to get this on the website for you.
Yeah, we'll do that, and I will likely also email these forms to you so that you can have them in 2 different places.
And I think that's all I have. Lisa, did you want to add to anything that I?
So looking back at this, and these are all people with impact awards, right? These are just strictly impacts, what we're dealing with.
Correct.
So this is the traditional SOP for CSBG. I believe that there are maybe a few differences for impact, if I'm not mistaken. Roxanne, you'd probably be able to answer that, but
Sorry, my headset just came
you're
apart.
fine.
You may need to say that again. I don't think she
Okay.
heard you.
Well, she's right across the thing from
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So,
So with the impact awards, and I apologize, I was actually going over the basis of CSBG claims requirements in general. When it comes to the impact awards, um, payroll documentation is going to be your only charge that you will supply. This here is all completely unnecessary. So when you submit your claims, the only documentation that you'll need for impact, that is, of course, is going to be payroll. That payroll documentation does need to be provided, and we need to make sure your dates match up. There's been a lot of, I've come across here recently where the dates don't match up. So we need to make sure of that.
yeah, because there's 2 line items for this, isn't there, Tina?
Yes.
There's just admin. Okay. So everything that Roxanne said earlier pertains mostly to traditional CSBG.
Mhm.
For this particular impact, which is I think there's 6 awards, maybe 6 or
Yes.
7.
6.
You will still follow, everything still has to be approved and deemed an eligible cost. So Roxanne is still going to look to make sure all of those costs are deemed eligible by federal guidelines. What's great about the impact award, it appears to me from the information that I'm reading, anything else that they have to include, Roxanne, would be what? Just,
Well, within the ledger, we do need to see that original vendor name. That
yes,
will, but if we don't see that original vendor name, then, if the documentation is not required, then we just won't be able to approve it until we've got it.
does anyone have any questions over that? Because I'm sorry if this was a little bit confusing. Okay, good.
This is Monica. I just want to make sure I understand. You're saying that the only documentation that we need to provide for the impact reports is payroll?
For impact, yes. But your ledgers, you do need to have your ledger.
Yes.
Your ledger must be very detailed. We
Okay.
need to be able to see who that vendor is, the original vendor.
So
It's
even
very
if we
important.
had expenses over $1,000, you just need to see that in the ledger, or does that change?
That is for regular CSBG, not for the impact awards.
Okay, so anything over 1,000 does not need additional documentation.
That is correct.
Only if you cannot see the vendor on our ledger.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Everybody's like, yes, yes.
We get the hard stuff out of the way first.
Yeah.
Then we come to the easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are impact. We're used to giving, actually, regular CSBG training is about this time too. So the impact awards are a little different, and you're very lucky because the other one's a little bit more detailed.
And then I'm maybe getting ahead of you, but these are entered through IHCDA online, or how do they submit these? Is it by email to Roxanne?
Well, actually, Tina, I'm glad you asked that question because now this would be my portion of the program. All right, so I'm going to share a screen with you, and this is, I'm pretty sure when you applied for access or you established a profile, you may have emailed me or gone to the online portal and clicked on new user, register here, something like that. If you haven't done that yet, you can feel free to email me and I will definitely get you the access that you need. Let me share with you the screen. When you go to the online system, and you'll want to mark this as probably a favorite of yours if you're going to be filing these claims, because it's kind of a pain to go back and look at the what do you call it? The address, the IP address. Let me see if this is gonna let me share. Oh, please tell me it's gonna let me share. There we go. Oh. All right. Hang on one second. Can you guys see my screen here? Yes? Okay. Perfect. All right, so when you go to the IP address, which is up here, and I'm certain we can send it to you all after this is over as well. Usually when I send you your access email, it does have this in it. So what you'll do is once you have gathered all of your information that pertains to your claim, you will come here, and some of the links that are provided take you to this page, and then some of them take you to what looks to be this page, which is welcome to the Authority DMS online management system. If you have not done this yet, this is where you would click that new user register here button. Okay, and then you would build your own profile. However, I believe most of you have your own profile at this time, so that's pretty irrelevant. I am holding an extra meeting today, like at 3, I think, with some CSBG people to go back over this. If you'd like to be part of that, just you can put it in the comments and we can include you in that meeting invite. All right, so here's where you'll enter your username and your password. And most of you won't see a screen that is this full because I have access to everything, but all of you will see probably this My Profile and this Award Claims Management. I believe, Rachel, you said you had NAP, so you would probably also see the NAP icon. For CSBG claims, what you would need to do is you would want to go to Awards Claim Management, click on that. I do apologize, it was moving very slowly this morning. So, okay, so over here to the side, just a few basics on IHCDA Online. When you want to create a claim, all of the information for you is over here. If you click on the award info button, it's going to just list all of the programs that you have access to. Because most of you are first timers with IHCDA, there will only be the CSBG drop down for you. But when you're ready to create a claim, you're going to click on create claim. And what you will see, it should be a drop down box. I feel like we need the Jeopardy music playing right here. Okay, so in this case, your award, because it's an impact award, will be named a little bit differently than this one. Okay, so I forget what they are. They're probably CS, CV, 021, O whatever, and then a D at the end. I think that's what I put in the system. So you would kindly click out of your list whatever program you want to work on, which in this case would be your CSBG. We'll just leave it in. That's good for me, I think. I hope it has the lines though. That's my only thing. Let's try this because it resembles. Okay, and then down here, you're going to have a couple choices. You're going to have grantee payment, return of funds, repayment, and adjustment. You will only want to choose grantee payment at this time. Grantee payment would be your transaction type. So once you have done that, if my system unfreezes, you'll click the create claim button, and the system will automatically generate a 6-digit number for you. We call this the receipt number. So anytime you call or reach out to Roxanne about a claim, please include that 6-digit number. We refer to that here, right here under your claim receipt number. So for this particular one, it would be 268163. If you have questions or you need help when you email Roxanne, because that is who will be reviewing your claims, you'll just say, hey, I need to ask you a question. I've created 268163. Or if it's denied or she emails you about it, she's very, very excellent at putting the receipt number in there, so you always know what she's referencing. But it will take you to, this is only an admin award, but we can suffice with this. This is fine. We didn't have one of these set up yet in the test for impact, but you'll understand what I'm saying. Okay, so here you have the claim receipt number. You have the transaction type, which is grantee payment. That means we're going to pay you because you were the recipient or the grantee. So down here where you will see, it will have your name there, your company name. And down here you will see 2 line items, not just one. You will have admin, and then you will have, is it direct program cost? Is that the, okay. So there will be 2 here. one will be admin, and one will be direct program costs. Now, you will also see the budget for each line item that you have. So if you have what we have here and what you have for direct program costs, you'll always know on this page exactly what you have to work with, what you have left in each category, which is very important. This, I would consider this screen, this is like your home screen for any award that you're going to be, or any claim that you're going to be starting or ending, because the same page that you look at over at this is the same page you're going to hit submit button at the end. So with that being said, this is like a 2,000 feet above screenshot for you. You can see all the details about your award. You can see the totals for all the groups that you've claimed and your balances. So what we're going to do is you go up here to begin your claim. You're going to click on the claim button. And this is the screen where you're going to enter the amounts. All of that data will be contained in the screen. So you can name this claim reference number if you want to do this. This is pretty much what most people do. Your first claim, they'll just name it 1. Your second claim, they'll name it 2, and just keep going down numerically. That way you can tell how many claims you've had, and it's easier to reference. Now, if you want to name it, you know, Rachel's claim, you want to name it whatever you want to name it, that is pretty irrelevant to us here. If that helps you on your end, then name it something that makes sense to you. We do recommend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So if I enter 1 there, or 12, if this is claim 12, or 1, or whatever, I'll go down here and I'll enter my amounts in this box for my admin and my direct program costs. Both line items will appear on this screen, okay? So if I want to claim $1,350, well, if I can get my, what's going on? Hello. There we go. I would enter that here. Now down here in the comments section, I can put whatever I want. If admin for January, whatever, admin for October, whatever. If you have any extra details that you want included with that, you can put that in there. Again, we don't really, we see it, and sometimes in some awards it helps us a lot to differentiate in different programs other than this. But for this, if you don't want to put any comment, you don't have to put a comment. But what you do have to do is click this save button right here. This is very important. If you do not click that save button, neither amount will save. Okay, so we have to click save there to let the system know, hey, this is what I want to claim. And then it will, you'll see a little blink in the screen, and we'll know that that's saved. Next, what we have to do, and what you'll have to do, is include your supporting documentation. Supporting documentation for impact awards will be all of your payroll information and your ledger. So up here along this line, you will see supporting documentation. You will click on that. The supporting documentation file extensions are listed here. Everything that will be accepted, which is mostly everything. Most everything that you turn in is probably going to be JPEG or PDF or that type of thing. But it will hold Excel files. We get a lot of those for different claims. So what you will do is you will, for me, this is the easiest. I always hit the browse button, and then I think I have some test stuff here. Maybe. I hope I do anyway, if I didn't erase it. If I did, we'll just do the ACH form. Okay, I'll click on whatever file I want to upload to the award for Roxanne to verify, for IHCDA to verify. And I'll click the open button. You'll then see that pop up just like you would if you were sending a document to someone from your personal computer. Up here, you have one option, claims documentation. Then you will click submit. Once you click submit, that's going to show up below this blue line once it has been uploaded to IHCDA online, and you'll see it just like you see it in the screenshot here. You can view it to make sure it's the correct document in case you might have, you know, had duplicates or something really close to one another and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I did the right one. It will pull that back up for you. But once you see it down here at the bottom, it has been saved to the system. So at that point, and you can do multiple uploads, which with CSBG is very common. If you want to have your payroll information as one document, upload that payroll information. If you want your ledger as a second document, you'll upload that as well. Okay, so at this point, we've put in our amounts, we've put in our supporting documentation. Now we need to submit the claim. So we're going to go back to our 2000 foot screenshot here where we begin and end. Click on the summary screen again, and it should show you exactly what you have, what you're going to claim inside the line items. So again, you'll look at the amount. Here's the line item that we entered in the example. You'll see that for the current claim, we see $1,350. Okay. If you get to this screen and you see 0, that tells me you did not click the save button that we talked about earlier. And you'll need to go back into this tab, type in your data again of the amounts, and then click save, and then you can come back to the screen. If you've done that correctly, it will show up in the current claim. And then you'll also see the total amount that you've claimed from previous claims plus your current claims equals your total claim amount now. And then you can see your balance. So this is like your own little checkbook for your award, okay? And then at that time, you would click Submit Claim. I am not going to click that at this time because I don't want to claim something for IHCDA. But then you would click Submit. When you click Submit, it will get sent from you through the online system into the queue for us to review. If you get an error message, you will want to email claims@ihcda.in.gov, and we can send that to you as well. Roxanne, can you type that in the email address in the comment section for them? That'd be fantastic. Just so you know, that way it comes directly to my desk and I can see, hey, you've got a problem. I just want to make sure you have the access that you need. That I can go into the online system and see what's going on if there is an issue. I don't anticipate many with a small grant like these are, but occasionally there are just instances where something happens and the system throws you a crazy error message. And the best thing for you to do inside that email would be to take a screenshot of the error message itself. That will pretty much give me the leverage that I need to go in and see what's going on. But if you don't, that's fine too, but that's just a helpful hint to try and speed up the process. One other thing I want to talk about while we're in the online system, because I feel like this is very important. So we all know that we're all not made of money, and the claim status is very important because we want to get you paid as quickly as possible. And IHCDA is usually extremely speedy when it comes to a state-based or quasi-state-based awards and grants. So our policy at IHCDA is 30 days from cradle to grave. So when you submit, it usually takes, we say it could take up to 30 days. Now, we have been known to turn it around in anywhere from 7 to 12. Sometimes it's 15. It just depends on a lot of different things. With all of the CARES Act money, we have been extremely busy. And unfortunately, claim payment has gone up higher than normal. But at the same time, it's still staying it's still staying before 30 days, just to give you an idea. But you can always click on this claim status tab up here, and the claim status will come up. In this particular case, what you're going to see is this claim is in the step of claim submission. That means if you see a claim submission, it means you have not submitted the claim for review. Once you click on that submit claim button and it goes through, this step will turn to claim review. You'll just see the words claim review. After Roxanne or whomever has reviewed the claim, mostly Roxanne in CSBG case, it will go into accounting review. Okay. Once it goes through accounting review, you will see ACH transfer. Okay. ACH transfer does not necessarily mean that the ACH transfer has been completed. It means that it's sitting, waiting for payment to go out in a batch. So if it says completed, that means that the payment has already been released. Does that make sense to everybody? So claim submission means you have not submitted the claim. Or one other thing, if Roxanne has to deny a claim, you will see your claim go from claim submission to claim review to claim submission back to you. It is our policy, and Roxanne is great about policy. If there's an error in your claim or you're missing some form of documentation, or she has a question, or we need to upload the approval letter or something of that sort, then she will reach out by email and say, hey, you have 3 business days to upload this additional information. If you upload that back into your claim, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second, then it will not go back into the submission phase. It will stay in review. And then when you upload that, you let Roxanne know, hey, I uploaded that document for you. And then she'll continue from the review process, and it'll go from the review, claim review, into accounting review, into ACH, just like it would normally. Are there any questions about that? You can always see where your claim is, and I really like that about this system. You can see where it's at and follow it the entire time that it's there. Okay, so once you've created a claim in general, and you want to know what status it's in, you can always go to this claim list button. When you log in and you hit Awards Claim Management on the main screen, it's going to give you your claim list. And this is all the claims that you've done across whatever programs you have with us within our internal system. So for instance, if I forgot something in this and Roxanne had to deny it, I would look for my 6-digit number. Like I explained earlier, you'd click on that, and it's going to reopen that claim for you to be able to upload additional payroll documentation if need be. You can do all of that. And it's the same process. You go to supporting documentation, upload the additional documentation, and then let her know. If it was denied, then you'd have to make the changes that were required and requested by Roxanne and IHCDA, go in, make the adjustments on the amounts or the documentation, and then again, go back to the summary screen after you have completed that. And you could click submit the claim again. Are there any questions over that? Yes, no, maybe, kind of. I can't really see everybody right now, so I'm kind of like, I'm gonna stop sharing right now and see if I can get crazy looks or anything. Does all of that make sense to everybody? The online system is not, unfortunately, it's not like Salesforce based where it's super easy and user intuitive. It is a system where it is good information in, good information out, bad information in, bad information out. There's no AI involved. There's no, it's like Access. It pretty much just does what you do to it, if that makes sense. I will type my email address in here. And if you have any questions about the online system, or you're experiencing anything weird, or you log in and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in the system, but I don't see my award. A lot of times with the grant agreements, we get like the name of your CEO or your acting president. We don't get the actual name of whomever is going to be filing the claims for us. We need all that information in order to connect you in the DMS system to the online system. Okay, I will try and make sure that all of you are able to see and do. Any questions on the online system? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, fantastic. Tina, back to you.
Thank you. I was just going to say at this point, I am available for emergency backup consultation, but I'm new to this as well. So I recommend that you try to reach out to Roxanne or Lisa directly with any questions about your claims. But if you're stuck, please let me know. And also Joe Trenadu, who is our graduate student, he's on this call and has participated in the training too. And between the two of us, we'll try to do our best. So does anybody have any more questions of us? Doesn't sound like it. So feel free to reach out and we will send this recording out to all of you. Just keep in touch and good luck and have fun with your awards. We're excited to see what happens with all of them.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.